questions are and have a chance to look at them and find something to say. Inshallah. The sisters may sit up here if they wish. They are forwarding these chairs for the ladies if they wish. If they wish to remain back, that is fine also. Questions? Any questions? We had promised yesterday and we didn't leave leeway. Any question about tariqa or sharia or yes? Shaykh Gibril Yes, there is an old tafsir, yes. There is a tafsir that was published by Shaykh Fadl al-Jilani, Dr. Fadl al-Jilani. The question was, last time I was mentioning a tafsir by Shaykh al-Jilani. And the answer is that yes, there is such a tafsir. It has been published by Dr. Fadl al-Jilani. I met him in Indonesia and we discussed this tafsir, and it's in several volumes. And it's about, there's many Sufi wisdoms in that tafsir. But there is a chance that it is actually written at a later date, because it contains references that are more probably made after the time of Sayyidina Shaykh Gibril. Allah knows best. Another thing is that when I was in Baghdad and I looked in the Awqaf Qadiriyya library of Baghdad, I tried to make, of his maqam, I tried to make a list of all of the writings that were in the catalogue there. And I did not come across any mention of this tafsir. Also in his books, all of his books that are published and recognized as being by him, I did not find any reference to him saying, to his tafsir, because usually, such a big work, unless it's the last of his works. So Allah knows best. One of our teachers in Damascus, Sheikh Dr. Muhammad Sa'id Ramadan al-Budi, rahimahullah, Shaheed, he expressed doubts about this tafsir. He refused to acknowledge that this could be by Shaykh Abdul Qadir for different reasons. So, basically, at least it came out. But there is like a theory that it is by a later Shaykh of the Naqshbandi tariqa, actually, and contains certain references to Naqshbandi terminology, and Allah knows best. There is even the name, I put down the name of that Shaykh when I came across that discussion to remember it. I wrote it down. But it is actually good for us to check and read and familiarize ourselves. It is, Sufi literature of a very interesting kind, the Sufi tafsir. There are not many, There are not so many Sufi tafsirs. One of the most famous being Lataif al-Isharat of Imam al-Shayli, the author of Risala al-Shayli. He has a tafsir. He has two tafsirs actually, but we only know Lataif al-Isharat. The other one, I never saw it published, so I don't know. Then there is Imam al-Sulami, Haqa'iq al-Tafsir, also. Imam al-Sulami, and there is also the Mulhaq Haqa'iq al-Tafsir, also published, both of it published, 2 volumes for Haqa'iq al-Tafsir, 1 volume for the Mulhaq, and there's Ruzbihan Bakri, a Persian Sufi. Ibn Ajiba has a tafsir, big tafsir. And then there is very much later Ismail Haqqi, Ruh al-Bayan, and Maulana Shaykh always quotes from him. Tafsir with Farsi and Turkish inside with the Arabic. Big, 4 huge, big, heavy, 50 volumes, full of poetry, full of interesting, These are among the way behind this one. Any other question? Ladies? Yes?
Any solution for how to get rid of bad thoughts?
How to get rid of bad thoughts? When you visit awliya, you visit their maqams, for example, or their homes. So if they are still in dunya, visiting blessed people, holy people, and their families, you get to spend time with them. So you start noticing, observing their adab, their love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their love for guests, and their adab with the guests of Allah that visit their house, and the spiritual gifts and other gifts and hospitality that they show. You start noticing the difference between, this type of people and people of dunya who, they show courtesy, but it has limits. Whereas it seems that the Ahlul Bayt, for example, the family of Holy Prophet ﷺ among in the society, they have special gifts of intense adab, intense hospitality, intense courtesy. And also gifts of knowledge that as if they are raised in it, so that the children also might show, signs of being precocious in their knowledge and or in the spiritual state and so on. So you are so busy, noticing these things, reflecting upon them, reflecting that, wow, I am always going back happy when I visit. And after, you might notice this after some time, like a year or 2, that you have become a happy person, and you have noticed that, or a happier person, and you have noticed also that, you haven't perhaps, experienced what you were, worried about for a while because of that, because your attention is captivated by something new and beautiful that you have. If you find something like that, and other ways also of tricking the ego into leaving you alone, and the nafs and hawa, the proclivities or the likes and dislikes of dunya that are always coming and going, to be distracted from that for a while, to park it away and to focus on beautiful, true things, such as, for example, reading Quran and in translation, focusing on the meanings, reading some hadith, reading a book by some holy people and the lives of the holy people of the past. There is so much spiritual gifts in that. Imam Abu Hanifa, he said one time that he loved to read about the lives of the early Muslims, for example, and that he found to read a little bit in their lives was sometimes better than too much fiqh and too much serious study. So there is, this shows that even when you are focusing on high and noble things, you need a break. So So if you find that also there is interference with your thinking, with wrong, bad ideas and so forth, that also find a break from that. If it's becoming like a break from perhaps your environment or your readings or your occupations, try to pray at night, for example. Pray at night, getting up and praying at night. Imam Hassan al-Basri said it is the hardest thing, but with the biggest fruit, biggest spiritual fruit. Imam Hassan al-Basri, he found it hard, very hard. But the Holy Prophet ﷺ promised that it is the honor of the believer, the honor of the believer. So your honor will lift up, and your spiritual eyes of your heart will open and will love that special time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is also a very strong weapon against whispers and bad thoughts, extremely strong, among all the other things, and there's more, inshallah. And keeping good company in the daytime, the best company that you can find, because we are who we keep company with. We get to be who we keep company with. It's like other people say we are what we eat and so forth. So yeah, that's to yes.
Ustad, especially when you talk about tonight about Tawassul, يعني we always hear every year when we share with our جماعات ذكرى ليلة الإسراء والمعراج. الواقع الذي هو واقع لقاء كلام الله موسى عليه السلام. And the prophet speaking was with Ibrahim, Khalilur Rahman. What can you explain on that? Because we heard Tazla say, did Allah make a mistake? Why up and down and what up and down? And perhaps your view, completely those two waqi'ah, his meeting with Ibrahim and then the story of the Baqiyat al-Salihat. And also, why was it Musa alayhi salam? He came past so many other problems. But it was Nabi Musa alayhi salam that asked him to go back to Allah and ask for takhfif. The hikmah in that issue.
Well, there is many questions inside the questions, and I will try to answer what I think I understood about the question about Sayyidina Musa and Sayyidina Ibrahim's meeting with the Holy Prophet ﷺ in the night of Isra and Mi'raj, and the claim by some non-Sunni sects that why on earth and in the sky? And because Allah is the same, that Allah is Allah on earth and Allah is Allah in the heavens, in the skies. I mean, Allah is worshipped everywhere. He's worshipped everywhere, and don't you love to worship Him on earth and in the air, and to say, Ya Rabbi, you gave me the chance to worship you in this country. Now you give me the chance to worship you in this country. The way that we switch spots in the mosque, so that they will witness, they all will witness. Oh Allah, you gave me a chance to worship you and to cry out to you in front of millions and billions of leaves of trees in the blue mountains, and this miracle of nature that Azzam, and it's like watching the ocean. But I've watched many oceans, but I never saw anything like that. It's Azzam on earth, of the hugeness of it. And so subhanallah, and we were wondering how did they feel in the early days when they were just them and nature. There was no barrier between you and that. The way that we are in our safe, distance, and our safe rails, and our safe also sound and fury, and shopping and playing. We don't realize we are in the presence of what? Allahu Akbar. I was stunned, and when we wanted to leave, we couldn't leave. We were too awed. And have we shown enough respect to leave already? Not these are being around. So is Allah, to worship Him and to worship Him in the air, in the plane, when we are, this is a miracle. That everyone thinks, take it for granted. It's not our place to be up there. But subhanAllah, we are up there, we say subhanAllah. Allah. So he met the prophets. First of all, on the way, he saw Sayyidina Musa standing, praying. And he saw Sayyidina Isa doing tawaf and descending. And he saw Sayyidina Musa again descending and making talbiyah. And he compared him to Rijal Bani Shanu'a and saying he's like this, he's like that, and this one, and this prophet, Sayyidina Isa, he's like this one, like your friend, the companion, so and so, looking like that. Or with his hair dripping, because Sayyidina Isa came out of the dimas, the bath, and was raised up at that time to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he appears, he appears in the same states, because he is in a state where time is suspended. So his hair still dripping like that. And when he descends also, at the time of Sayyidina al-Mahdi, he will descend in that same state also. His hair is still dripping, because that's how, when he came out of the bath, he was taken out. So then he met them again in Qudus, all of them, and he led them in prayer. So that's different places already on the way, and different places also at the destination of Isra. And then in Mi'raj he saw them again in the skies where they dwell. And there are two riwayas about Musa and Ibrahim alayhi salam. You asked about them. And in fact, there are two riwayas. One riwayah is that Sayyidina Musa is at the 6th sky and Sayyidina Ibrahim at the 7th. And the other riwayah is that it is, yes, the reverse, because Sayyidina Musa is Kalimullah, and so because of that, he's in the 7th sky and Sayyidina Ibrahim in the 6th sky. And you'll find, I think, that in Imam al-Bukhari, if I'm not mistaken, yes. So there is no, and as for the 50, it's a teaching of Tawassul, that even the Holy Prophet ﷺ used the wasila of Sayyidina Musa and his istishara, and so he gave him the ishara that it's too hard for your ummah. And this is also Sayyidina Musa saying, remember, I asked to be of your ummah also. At first he was saying, how come, Ya Rabbi, that he is the one with such, and Sayyidina Musa hoped to be but then he saw Sayyidina Muhammad being the one with the greatest ummah, being the Khatam al-Anbiya, and so they all asked to be part of his ummah, but this was given only to Sayyidina Isa and very select others to be part of his ummah, of the prophets that came before him. And he came before them all, as he said in his hadith, that أنا أول الأنبياء خلقا وآخرهم بعثا. So this is why also among his asma, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-awwal wal-akhir, because of that. Yeah. So to show that we have a special connection to Sayyidina Musa because he made takhfif for us. He asked for takhfif for us. And the Prophet ﷺ took that advice and asked for it and got it for us. So it's like a double wasila. The wasila of the Holy Prophet ﷺ and the wasila of Sayyidina Musa Nur ala Nur and other things. You can say Sayyid Muhammad bin Ja'far al-Kaptani has a beautiful book on Isra and Mi'raj that is read, also full of secrets also. It's not the only book by the Kaptani family, ulama, on Isra and Mi'raj, but this is, I think, called Al-Mann wal-Imdad بذكرى إسراء ومعراج خير العباد, if I'm not mistaken. And on this occasion, I would like to mention that I had the book of Sayyid Muhammad bin Ali al-Maliki, because someone mentioned him, that book is the book of Isra al-Mi'raj by small book. I translated that book. Yeah, I translated it into English and I showed it to Maulana in Damascus. He said, publish it in the UK. We published it in the UK. And it received several editions. Anyway, so in 1999 I had the chance to go to Hajj, and it was Hajj al-Akbar, and I went to Hajj from Damascus to Lebanon, and from Lebanon to Jeddah. And then we went to Medina first, and Alhamdulillah, and then we went to Mecca al-Mukarramah, and we made the Umrah, and then we made the Hajj. It was a Hajj Qiran. And so, after I was finished, I decided to go visit Sayyid Muhammad bin Ali al-Maliki. And I had brought with me a copy, an early copy, homemade, special bound, homemade copy of the book, before it had been published in the UK. So, with me, to present to him. So when I reached his house in Musaifa, I knocked and they said, yes, Habib, Sheikh is busy now, it cannot, so sorry. I said, I have a book, I would just like to give it to him. A book of his translation of his book. So he said, oh, wait, he came back, he opened, come in, and Sheikh was alone and about to have dinner. So he said, sit, eat with me. So it was just him and me, and we ate, and I introduced myself. He thought I was, a Sunni boy from Beirut. Do you know this one? Do you know that one? I said, Maulana, أنا أسلمت في أمريكا. أنا أصلا من جهة الأشرفية في يعني من جهة يعني different culture, different millah of. So I explained that, and he said, so who is your sheikh? I said, أنا الشيخ ناظم. مولانا الشيخ هشام. He said, أنت حقاني? You are حقاني? He said, I know Sheikh Hisham Sadiqi, my friend. And he was happy. After that, he gave me all his books. All his books, two big bags full of books like that. And he gave me a big gift that he put in my hand. I cried. I said, no. He says, this for your need, and do other books. So I did. I took from one of those books his chapter on Hayat al-Anbiya fi Barzakh, and I translated it. And I added the notes from the same book by Imam Bayhaqi. It helped me do the takhrij. So that was another book also by Sayyid Muhammad Ma'amr. And it was my passport, the first one, to see him. It was my passport. So. Because of that, I will never forget it. He is the first sheikh ever that gave me ijazah. I did not even know what ijazah was. He taught me that he gave me. Yes. Any other question before we close, inshallah? Yes. Yes, it's okay if you ask in private. Any public question? Yes. Well, actually it finds you, but at least be looking. Yeah. So don't worry. But sincerity and a prayer, and it's like when someone finds Islam, for example, how you find Islam, it's like a miracle. And how you find the right sohbah also. There is so many different obstacles and pitfalls, and also inside Islam, you're not finished. You are just beginning, and you realize that subhanallah, after 30 years, now I am just beginning. I feel also might feel like that. So there's many lives we go through, subhanallah. So it's like asking, well, how do I start the next one? It starts you. But to be always, ashik, like in such meetings, in such sohbahs, and full of, like a sheikh, to be The Shaykh is actually, you think he is this age, but in reality, Allahu Akbar, it is, the fire that never stops, like does not age, and then they bring you to different vistas that you never imagine. It's beyond the space and time. So we don't ask how I do it. There is no I, in fact. It's better to forget that, because that was the problem in the first place. We get to realize that. So leave the I behind, and we come to them, try to come to them without that, and inshallah you will benefit. May Allah keep us on that path and teach us what is beneficial for us, that He loves for us with the awliya, and they bring us to the doors of Anbiya and Sayyid al-Anbiya.
This question is private and public. So I don't want anyone to be disturbed. I have a friend of mine who lost daughter 2 years ago from liver cancer. She's non-Muslim, and she keeps asking me what is Islamic point of view on reincarnation.
Reincarnation.
Yeah, so I don't know how to help, I don't know what to answer, I don't know how to approach this.
But I just mentioned that we die to a previous life in this life, and we are reincarnated in this very life. I mean, you are the same person as something else, something new. Like for example, a non-Muslim who died to their previous denomination and was born in Islam as a Muslim, as a new person. This is a new life, you see. And they lived in a certain place, and then they shifted. They moved from west to east, for example. So they knew nothing about living in a Muslim country. So they wanted to live in a Muslim country now, after having lived, let's say, 30 years in a non-Muslim environment. Say, I've lived 30 years in a non-Muslim environment. I should correct that. I should balance that. Let me live now 30 years, if Allah grants life, at least that in a Muslim environment. See what's that like. That's a new life. That's a new life. And then let's say the marital status becomes now you are a family, you have children, so that's a new life also. And meeting the Shaykh of your life, that opens a new door for you, that's a new life. You are already being reincarnated in this life, if you want to experience. You see? And it's more interesting than being reincarnated as a different species or a different class of a human being, say a high caste or low caste. I think it's more interesting than just that. See, because this is not, we're not into what's the interest of being a character in a science fiction story or something extraordinary and spectacular, but not really, that is not connected in a meaningful way. This is all connected in a meaningful way, because you still remember everything, you are thankful for everything, you are in awe that why this happened, how this happened, and then you realize that there is guidance, it is haqq, it is reality, there is jazba, there is attraction, there is suhba, there is benefit, there is hearts to hearts. It's not just the senses, the five senses. So there are veils, and the veils are lifted, and there are other veils, and there are also madarij and way stations. The way stations of the wayfarers, the madarij al-salikin, like they said, and the mahabbat, and so there are stations where you are temporary there, and ahwal and maqamat, all of that. So we discovered that in the Sufi path also. The Sufi path is just yet another reincarnation, tariqah, where really the real life begins. And there is a story of a sheikh and his murid visiting the maqabir, the graves of the ulama. And the sheikh would say to the murid, this one he died, he was 7 years old. That one he was 11. That one he was 2 years old. And the murid notices the names and he says, these are very old ulama, these are big ulama. How come, my sheikh, you are saying 7, 11, 12, 2? said, no, because we count from the time that Allah opened their heart. We count from the time that they received their fath or their amana. And they reached their desire with Allah and with the Prophet ﷺ and brought them near. You know, like one wali, he said, Wallah, I never shook hands with anyone except Rasulullah ﷺ. I mean, at the end, when his Shaykh had brought him to Rasulullah ﷺ. He forgot even his Shaykh. I mean, he didn't forget him, but out of Adab, you say, now it is my whole world, you know, that I shook hands. He brought me to shake hands with Rasulullah ﷺ. So now I must only mention that. That was Abu al-Abbas al-Mursi. His Shaykh was Abu al-Hasan al-Shazili. So, and the reason why he said that was because someone had visited him in the Majlis, in the Zawiya, and before leaving that someone had said, Shaykh, can I shake your hands? You have been to so many places, seen so many people. I would like to shake your hands before I go. I would be very happy. So yes, shook his hand, kissed him, and he left. And the Shaykh said later, why he said, I have been to many places, so let me kiss, he wanted to kiss my hand. He said to him, oh Shaykh, because they believe they will take the barakah of all those places and all the people that you have met. And the Shaykh laughed, Abu Abbas al-Mursi, he laughed. He said, Wallahi, ma safahtu illa Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I never shook hands except with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Meaning, after all these meetings, then the upshot was that, the end result was that my Shaykh finally brought me when I was good and ready and sufficiently broken into and remade into someone that was fit. And the Shaykh finally said, Ya Rasulullah, do you accept this? And then I shook hands with Rasulullah, and that was all he could remember at that time. All he cared to remember. So that was a new life and what we know. So we can close inshallah. Bismillah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. نور الأنوار. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد سر الأسرار. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد ترياق الأغيار. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد ما أظلم ليل وأشرق نهار. وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صلاة الرضا وصلاة الشكر وصلاة الفتح وصلاة الحفظ وصلاة الغنى وصلاة الجمال وصلاة الجلال وصلاة الكمال صلاة الرجاعين إليك يا رب يا الله التوابين إليك صلاة الشكرين لك صلاة الحمادين لك صلاة المشتاقين إلى حضرة رسولك صلى الله عليه وسلم والملتزمين حضور أوليائك اللهم احفظنا بما حفظت به عبادك الصالحين في الدنيا والآخرة وعيالنا وأحبابنا وأشياخنا وأزواجنا وجميع من وصانا واستوصانا بدعاء الخير واشفنا ظاهرا وباطنا وارزقنا حسا ومعنى وجميع من وصانا واستوصانا ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة